then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me.
Good Saturday night, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Sim Racing Media presentation of ECR NextGen Cup Series here at Daytona for the Stars and Stripes 250. I'm usually here, Shane Cochran here in the booth tonight. Mike has the night off, so with me is going to be one of our SRM newcomers, Chris Murphy. Chris, how you doing?
Yeah, Shane, how you doing tonight, brother? We're looking forward to another good race here tonight. Daytona seems like I have been at Daytona so often here over the last few weeks. I think I maybe just need to move down to Florida, make my travel time a lot quicker. But really good to be here with you tonight. Looking forward to another good race here tonight.
Yeah, I think the Daytona 500 always gets all the hype, but I personally prefer the mid-season Stars and Stripes 4th of July style weekend here in the middle of the season. It's going to be a lot of fun. Last week, we were at Richmond, and it was delivered an action-packed night. 21 drivers in the race. Colin Bollinger and Tristan Bailey looked to be the favorites early on. They saw 4 cautions. One of them was Bailey late in the race. So the move of the race ended up being when Bollinger called for 2 tires on the final stop, which proved to be the winning call. We're about 2 minutes away from wrapping up qualifying. But like we said, we are here at Daytona for the Stars and Stripes 250. It's 82 degrees, a little bit of humidity. Track temp, 85 degrees, so nice and cool. We got 100 laps here tonight. Really looking forward to it. Like I said, you do a lot of driving on the restrictor plate draft style tracks, Chris?
I've not had not in quite a while. As a matter of fact, probably since not since the early 2000s. in a lot of different games. I haven't got onto iRacing a lot and ran a lot of laps. So looking forward to, now that I've kind of getting more into it, but I've ran a lot of laps back in the past for sure.
Yeah, early on, a year or two ago, I would have considered myself a drafting track specialist, but this next gen car has really kind of changed the game, and I haven't found success here. I think it rewards you for never lifting. I think that's kind of what you have to do, whether you're at Michigan or at Daytona. So it kind of raises the stakes just a little bit. Again, as we look at our race rundown, this is race number 18 on the season, presented by SRM. 100 laps, 250 miles. As usual, drivers will have one fast repair if they need it. We're looking at 70% fuel capacity and 6 sets of tires. Tires may or may not come into play. I think as long as you're smart and don't use them up early, you'll be just fine. So we still have one driver out on the track qualifying. Otherwise, we are just about wrapped up, getting ready to start this thing.
It seems like every race we've been on to cover lately, I've done my best to try to calculate fuel mileage when the green flag stops are going to come, and every single time I've been wrong. Or we have so many cautions it really doesn't matter. So, I don't see drivers going more than maybe 40 to 45 laps under a green flag run. But then again, like I said, I'm usually wrong with that. Just taking a wild guess. So, with a 70% fuel load, that's going to change things for sure.
Yeah, and a lot of times, whatever's on paper is one thing, but when drivers get in the race, they always find a way to save more fuel than we ever think they can and really extend that fuel window. So we won't know until that first green flag stop happens on the night to kind of set the bar.
26 drivers show up here tonight. 23 have put down laps so far. Should be a good field of cars. And like you said, these next gen cars, you're going to have to find a friend out there. You're not going to do a lot by yourself. So right now we've got 4 Chevys up in the front. So see if they can team up.
So we take a look at our starting grid. We got Andrew Chapman taking the pole in the 25 rapid fire pizza car. Dwayne Furtick on the outside of the front row. Justin Hendry in third. Tristan Bailey fourth. Aaron Spear fifth. Gary Nash in sixth. Michael York 7th, Aaron Miller 8th, Robert Roth and Pete Walsh round out that 5th row. Michael Carter in 11th, Ryan McCall in 12th. Next up, 13th is going to be Adam Boughton, Jonathan Cogswell in 14th, John Osborne 15th, Anthony Ludi 16th, Christopher Roth in 17th, Stan Carnathan in 18th, Sam Batwell 19th, Doug Denise in 20th, Bradley Rivers 21st, Tyler Burden 22nd, Kent Mueller 23rd, and Colin Bollinger, last week's winner, in 24th. And then Kyle Diaz and Kane Lee starting on that final 13th row as we are ready to get things going here with the ECR Next Gen Cup Series.
Yeah, point leader right now coming into this race, like you said, this is going to be the 18th race of the season here, or the series. Tristan Bailey, your point leader right now, going to start 4th here tonight. Right behind him is Dwayne Furtick, and he's going to be starting outside that front row in spot number 2. So could have, see they're close enough in points. We could have a little bit of a shakeup tonight. So we'll see what Bailey and Furtick can do here early on.
Yeah, as between the two, I think this is going to be a big team strategy night. You got to have friends to get around Daytona.
Chapman on the pole. I'm trying to find what team he is on. He's down there in that. So he is teammates with Tristan Bailey. So I could see Chapman and Bailey teaming up here, getting nose to tail, see if they can, stay together all night long, help each other out. Stay up in front. It's good to have those teammates, especially if we do get to some green flag stops. So you have somebody to come in and pit with, so you're not coming out by yourself. Looks like we have quite a few of the how am I going to pronounce that? Aeons Motor Club, AEONS.
Yeah, I believe it's the Aeons. And they can correct me in the live chat if I'm getting that wrong.
Everyone on this long back straight. Looks like they're only going to take one pace lap here as the lights are already out on the pace car.
A lot of red, white, and blue in the field. As the night goes on, we'll take a closer look at a lot of these drivers' paint schemes for tonight.
Yeah, Stars and Stripes 250 looks like some guys took it to heart. Maybe did some redesigns on the cars, put some new skins on or some new wraps on for this night.
I'm sure a lot of these drivers hit up Doug Denise of Denise Designs, one of our primary sponsors here at ECR. Get some of these sharp schemes out there.
Well, they're coming off a turn 4 here. I think the pace car is going to pull down off into the pit area. And we're going to see exactly what Andrew Chapman has for this field. That's a pretty abrupt move from the pace car there, but he's out of the way. So Chapman's going to bring him to the line. Furtick on the outside, Hendry Bailey in row number 2. And we are green flag here for the Stars and Stripes 250, and it's going to be Chapman. Nice start right there. So it gets a little separation on him. And he's going to move up to that top groove and pick up the, is that the 85?
Looks like the 85 is down low. Furtick already diving back to the inside lane to catch up to the 25.
So Chapman jumps up to pick up his buddy Furtick really quick there. And now he's kind of running the middle. I think he's trying to decide who to block, but he's kind of stuck on the outside. And here comes Furtick down on the bottom with a big push from that 85 of Justin Hendry. And he is going to go to the front. We're going to have a different leader here as we come around to complete lap number 1. Furtick, Hendry, Spear, Miller, your top 4 right now. Chapman back there in 5th. Our point leader, Tristan Bailey, is falling back to 7th. But it's a long way left to go here. You know, you're going to see some of these guys maybe just kind of fall back, you know, be patient, not do anything crazy, just kind of avoid the big one. You see that a lot of times with these guys just kind of hang out in the middle of their back somewhere and just try to stay out of trouble.
Yeah, I think it's always a flip of the coin of what is safer, to try and get to the front to be in front of the big one, or to drop to the back to try and have time to react to it. It seems like there's no escape, no safe place to hide, but being right in the middle is probably the least lucky.
No, it just takes that one little mistake. You can see Hendry right there in that 85 just tucked up right underneath the rear spoiler of Furtick. He's doing a really good job of pushing, but just one little mistake there. If he kind of gets off to one side of the back bumper there and just kind of gets him at the wrong time, he'll turn around right in front of the whole field. But he's doing a really good job of pushing right now as we start lap number 3, and it's still Furtick out in front with Hendry right there behind him. They got a little separation back to Spear and York back in that 3rd and 4th position. But I think you're going to see that outside line make a run here real quick as they come down this back straightaway. Let's see if Furtick jumps up and tries to block that run, because here comes the is that the 5 car I see on the outside of Michael York, getting a big push from the 25 of Andrew Chapman, and they're coming to the front in a big hurry.
Two by two all the way through the field. And if you're one of these guys further back in the pack, you're kind of just at the mercy. As we see a little bit of contact. 85. Oh, big wreck. Couple cars in the wall. We stay green for now. And they're collecting more and more drivers. And there's the first caution of the night.
Hendry involved in it. The 10 car, Aaron Miller involved in it. Some guys are running right up in the front. Looks like Furtick's going to drop back a couple of spots.
Yeah, I think it started with the 85. Right there, and then the 10 swings over. And with those 2 cars in the wall, all these other drivers just don't have time to react.
Was 85 just kind of trying to get down out of the way? He looked to be way off the pace right there. Or did I miss the very beginning of that incident?
Back that up a little bit further. And check on Hendry. I think maybe he got a push at just the wrong time and got a little squirrely.
So he's pushing there on the 51 car. I think something broke right there. Did you see the separation between him and the 51? I think he may have blown up right there, and he just fell back, because you you can see he was pushing on the 51 of Furtick, and then just all of a sudden he just drops back off the back bumper.
Let's jump on board and see if we hear anything. Saw a puff of smoke. I don't know if that was like a netcode issue or, like you said, maybe he blew a motor. You're right, he did.
He just lost RPMs altogether right there. So he just blew up, tried to get down out of the way as fast as he could, but it just wasn't fast enough. And some guys lifting behind him, and just, you know, what happens is you get one guy sees what's happening, he tries to back out of the throttle, and the guy behind him doesn't see it fast enough, and that's definitely what caused that pileup right there. So that's a shame, because Hendry was doing a really good job running up there in second for a while, pushing Furtick to the front. So it's a shame to see him out so early, only 5 laps into this 100-lap race.
Yeah, but I think that teaches the rest of the field something. That was just 3 laps, really, of moderate pushing. We're going to have to be really careful about how close you get to the guy in front and how hard you push without getting some clean air in that radiator tonight.
And we're going to see everybody come down in the pits here. At least the top 10, 12 cars all going to dive down there and take advantage of this early caution flag, put some new tires on, fill the fuel. At number 5 of Michael York, nice Moses sponsor. That's a good-looking car. And that is going to leave, it looks like Adam Botten in the 94 car is the only car that's going to stay out on the racetrack, and he is going to inherit the lead.
Not a bad strategy this early in the race. I mean, you got to assume you're going to have a couple chances to come down pit road, maybe catch some cautions.
Yeah, it looks like, I'm looking at some of those pit times, and they were only about 5 to 6 seconds, so it looks like maybe it was only fuel only. I mean, I don't watch as much NASCAR as I used to, but I don't think they're changing 4 tires in 5 seconds anymore.
No, I think you're right. Usually, if we see 5 or 6 seconds, we're assuming it's fuel. 8, 9, looking at 2 tires, and then 14 or 15 for a full tire stop.
So Hendry, as I like to say, Hendry wins the race to the beer stand.
Yeah, he's sitting in the pits getting repairs right now, but with a blown motor, not sure. A lot of times, even with drivers having that one fast repair, sometimes iRacing does not let you fast repair a blown motor. Unless you can make it back to pit road, so he might still be towing.
Yeah, he's so far he's been in the pits for a little over 2 minutes right now. So even if he does make it back out there, he's going to be a few laps down. It looks like we still have a few cars still sitting on pit road. Stan Carnathan, Anthony Ludi, and Hendry. So Botten, only car in the whole field not to take advantage of that caution and come in. And we've got Gary Nash now in the 88 car making a second stop for some reason.
Yeah, I mean,
Botten.
Most of these drivers came down for a fuel. I'd come down and top off. Like you said, I think with a questionable fuel window here, if you're anywhere close to 45, 46 laps in a fuel window, you can make it on one more stop potentially.
Yeah. All right, so I'm looking at a driver card from Adam Botten, our leader right now. And now, you being from the East Coast, you might be able to pronounce that. Was that Susquehanna?
I think it's Susquehanna.
Susquehanna, Pennsylvania. 5-time ECR Cup Series champion is our leader out there right now.
Yeah, certainly put himself in what feels like the safest spot here at the beginning of the race, with Hendry running near the front. Everybody having to stack up there on that caution.
Yeah, our point leader Tristan Bailey up 1 spot up to 3rd right now. Dwayne Furtick fell down to 5th, our early leader. So we'll see if Botten, I don't think, none of the cars around him really took on tires. They only took on fuel, so I don't see anybody having a tire advantage there. So Botten might have played a smart move there, getting to the front. If get another second caution here within the next 20 or 30 laps, and that might be the smartest move of the race right there. We're coming off of turn 4 here. Lights are out on the pace car once again. Botten, Chapman, Bailey, York, Walsh, your top, or excuse me, Furtick, your top 5. Pace car's going to make that abrupt left-hand turn. That's a really sharp. I don't know how it turns that sharp, but the pace car's going to move down into the pits. Botten's going to bring him to the stripe. Another good. So that's going to be too good of a start right there. I think Botten's getting a big gap right there. They're going to run him back down, and there's even a gap back there, which behind the 25 car, or excuse me, the 5 car York. I mean, Botten got such a big jump that allowed Chapman and Bailey to both drop down to that inside line, and Botten immediately moves to the top all by himself. I'm not sure if that was the not sure the tactic there, but he kind of moved up out of the way and let that bottom line go.
Yeah, most tracks a jump like that would be really advantageous, but not so much here at Daytona.
No, definitely you want to keep that guy behind you right on your bumper getting a push. When you get a jump like that, you're going to get 2 or 3 cars to team up behind you. They're just going to run you down in a hurry. And we're single file down on the bottom with Chapman, Bailey, York, Furtick, our top 4. McCall sitting back there in 4th, and we got about a 20 car here draft up here for the front right now. Looking back, we've got 23 cars all within about 0.6 of a second of each other.
Yeah, there was kind of a weird move by Botten there from the front to drop back on the high side, but now he's picked up 2 of his Revolution Motorsports teammates of Aaron Spear and Anthony Ludi. 94, 95, 96, all lined up.
It's really nice of him if that was his tactic to go back and pick up his teammates, but you know, I think if I'd have stayed out there and didn't pit and was on the pole, I would do everything I could, or you know, on the point there on that restart, I'd have done everything I could to stay there.
Might be a bit of the fuel strategy, Chris. And then nobody's going to get worse mileage than the leader. And with Adam kind of taking that gamble to stay out, he's short on fuel compared to everyone else. He might need to get back in the pack and draft.
That is a really good point there, Shane. I'm always thinking of the aggressive and not the passive. So
yeah, just 10 laps into this race at Daytona. A long way to go. It's all about putting yourself in position in those final laps. And sometimes to do that, you've got to drop to the back and save fuel here early on, but not for Chapman and Bailey. They're up front leading this thing. Furtick getting antsy in 4th place, looks to the outside and then drops back down to the inside of Michael York.
Yeah, it looked like he did a little okey doke there on York. York kind of went up there to go with him, and then Furtick said, no, I was going to go back down to the bottom. You can stay up there on the top now. But York's picking up some help there with that 74. And that 9 car, Tristan Bailey, jumps up there in front of him, too. So that he's got a little bit of help there on that outside line now. And our leader, Chapman's going to jump up there with him as well. So let's see if Furtick can bring that inside row along with that 15 right there behind him of Brad Rivers, see if they can make that work now. And it looks like it's going to work for him. Furtick is going to get himself back to the point with some help from that bright yellow and purple number 15 of Brad Rivers. But you got Chapman and Bailey still up on the outside, and he's not giving up very easy. As a matter of fact, it's going to be Chapman leading as they come across the line. Bailey there in 2nd, and Michael York comes back up to 3rd in that number 5 Moses sponsored car.
Yeah, I saw it. Rivers made a huge dive down to the inside, and that's what gave Furtick a great push and pushed him to the front. But now Bailey and Chapman back out front. Racing hard.
And Bailey's going to drop down to the bottom. That's going to give York the outside line. He's got the 74 Walsh pushing him up to the front. Walsh kind of trying to make that outside line work here for the last 3 or 4 laps. He was leading the charge there until everybody kind of shaked up in front of him. But he's right there on the back bumper of York, trying to give him a push, try to get to the front, and it looks like it may work as they come down through the tri-oval. That outside line's got a pretty good head of steam here, and York's going to go to the front.
Yeah, actually seen a lot more aggression here than I would have expected, as we've already had a quick caution. You'd think drivers might pull back the reins, but they are pushing, juking, and jiving.
It's almost like they're paying lap money. Everybody wants to get to the front and lead a lap.
It does look like there are 2 cars that have, or 3 cars now that have dropped far behind. They're going to miss that next caution for sure. One of those cars, Justin Hendry, who was in that first wreck. He did get his repairs done. He's out 2 laps down, but sitting in that lucky dog position.
Yeah, 3 cars back there are off the pace. I think they're all down a few laps at this point anyway. The 8 car of Mueller, Denise, and Hendry. At least I got some friends back there. It'd be really, really tough if you're back there all by yourself without any friends. So at least they're not lonely.
Yeah, I mean, I think Mueller and Denise are still on the lead lap. Just Hendry's the 1-2 laps down. But yeah, it is great to have friends when you want to disconnect from the draft, maybe play it safe. As Furtick now moves his way up to the lead. And Rivers says, hey, I'll take that too.
Yeah, Rivers, after pushing Furtick up there earlier, he's going to take his shot, and he's going to put his nose out in front of Furtick here as they head down into turn 1. A little pushing back there behind with Bailey and Chapman. Well, Rivers got just a little bit loose there. Car wiggled around a little bit, and he's going to drop down to the bottom, pick up his friend Furtick here, and see if he can stay out in front all the way down this long back straightaway. But Bailey with a good push from Chapman on the outside, and they're going to go back to the point. See some shuffling around. We're 3 wide down the middle of the back straightaway. Back there in the middle of the pack, they kind of get it straightened out. Pretty aggressive move there from Bailey and Chapman to drop back down on the bottom of the racetrack in front of Rivers, but they're going to have the lead as they come across the stripe here, starting the 16th lap of this race.
Ooh, Rivers and York. Big bump there. Almost upsets that 15 car. They lost
look at that move from. Yeah, I was looking at that move from the 90 car of McCall. Tried to jump up to the outside, but he didn't have any friends. But he was able to find a hole, get back down in front of the 59 of Robert Roth. Our top 5 right now, all top 6, all in single file. Rivers up there on the outside. He's got that 5 car of Michael York behind him. Let's see if they can get a head of steam built up in the next lap or two. Bailey, Chapman, Furtick, McCall, Roth, your top 5 right now. And we're single file for about the top 10 spots. Outside line trying to get organized as they come off at number 2. Excuse me, sorry for that yawn. As they come off turn number 2 down the back straightaway here, it's still going to be Bailey out in front.
Yeah, again, these drivers pushing so hard. Now this inside line is breaking away. Bailey and Chapman loving this.
Yeah, that outside line's got to get organized. We got 5 cars up there right now. Rivers leading that pack. And they don't look really organized enough to get a good head of steam to make their way to come up and challenge for the lead right now. And we saw that early blown motor up from Hendry earlier, so maybe some of these guys kind of got that in the back of their mind. They're being a little cautious. But as I say that, we're 3 wide down the back straightaway once again, with Rivers stuck in the middle back there in the middle of the pack. Is that the Roth brothers there in 5th and 6th, or in the 59 and 62?
Yeah, they are in 5th and 6th. Running good tonight.
Well, it looks like we kind of settled out here up here in the front. Everybody decided they're going to catch their breath, going to stay in line, not do anything crazy. So Bailey, Chapman, and Furtick been your top 3 now for about the last 3 or 4 laps. Outside line still trying to get organized. That 5 car, Michael York, doing everything he can to get that outside row up towards the front.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you what or why it wasn't working, but with Rivers out in front of York, they just could not get any good push going. So it looks like they've swapped positions. Rivers now pushing York as Osborne going to jump in front and say, hey, I'll ride that train to the front.
Osborne saw him coming. Yeah, he jumped right up there in front of him. It kind of slowed him up here for just a little bit, but I think you got York back there giving them a good push, and here they're coming with a head of steam now. And it's Osborne, York, and Rivers, your first three on that outside line, with a 24 of Stan Carnathan as well. Carnathan spent some time in the pits earlier, so it's good to see him back out on the track. But that outside line they start to build up a little bit ahead of steam, and then for whatever reason they start to lose some ground here. So let's see if they can get organized enough here to do something, because those top 7 or 8 cars have all kind of settled in down there on the bottom. Bailey, Chapman, and Furtick, McCall, and Roth have just been holding that top 5 for a while, just being patient. I think we're going to see him there until that first green flag stop, if it stays green all the way through here. Yeah, we're focused on this outside, and that 81 car just kind of backed them all up here. I'm not. Well, he really lost some speed there. I don't know what happened, because York was tucked up underneath him. And that 81 of Osborne's not kind of backing up that outside line.
Yeah, you gotta wonder if some of these guys are seeing that those temps get up there. York was doing great, Rivers was doing great, and then every now and then they swap back and forth and back off. And I know I'd be nervous about blowing a motor after seeing how quickly Hendry was able to do it at the beginning of the race.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And you see Rivers there with a good move to kind of get underneath of Osborne there, make up a couple of spots, get down to that inside line. Chapman jumped up in front of, ran right in the back of Bailey right there, said, let's go, boy, we got to get away from these guys. Bailey, Chapman, Furtick. But Chapman doing a really good job of pushing here too. Not doing anything crazy, not staying off that back bumper through the corners, which is really important. If you're gonna do some big push, you want to do it down this long back straightaway. That's a really good shot right there. You can see Chapman just tucked right up underneath the spoiler.
Well, we jump on board with Chapman. See some professional pushing here from second position with his teammate Tristan Bailey.
And you can see the challenger. He gets up here, just gives him a little bit of little bump draft here. And you can see the challenge there from Chapman, just how much your vision is obscured when you're that close up on the back of somebody. You kind of trust in them to kind of lead you into the corner. But Chapman does a good job. He's right up on the back there, and he backs off as they get into the corner. He doesn't want to be pushing right there and turn him sideways, make a big mistake, and tear up the whole field here. Nice shot back to the 51 of Furtick.
Yeah, now 17 laps since most of these drivers came down and topped off on fuel. Our friend Adam Boughton is 22 laps into his fuel run. My crew chief notebook is saying I think the fuel window is just under 30 laps, so less than 10 laps. I'm going to expect Adam to have to hit pit road or come up with some other way to get fuel in the car.
I'm going to trust you on that one, because as I said more than once earlier, I'm always wrong with it. So, and we saw a lot of aggressiveness early on in this race, but everybody seems to kind of settle in here. I don't think anybody wants to make any mistakes, do anything crazy. Just wants to get to the end of this race. We are set. It's the 18th race of this season, so they're a little over halfway. So you don't want to, you want to gain as many points as you can here, capitalize as much. So you don't want to go out here early.
As we hit our 25th lap, a quarter of the way through the race. So far, really only one big event on lap 4. 85 of Justin Hendry blew a motor near the front of the field, snacked up a few guys, but everyone other than Hendry still on the track, still on the lead lap.
We got Bailey and Chapman kind of move to the outside. Bailey catches the wall right there down the back straightaway, and that is going to give Furtick a big run down on the bottom, and he's getting help from that 90 of Ryan McCall, and he hit back to the front. And Chapman finds a hole, dives back down to the bottom in third, but he gets a bump from the 59 of Robert Roth. And as that's going on, Bailey's going to find a hole to get back into third right in front of his favorite pushing partner of Andrew Chapman. But Furtick back to the front, a little shake up there. We saw Bailey and Chapman move to the top. Bailey caught the wall just enough to scrub off some speed.
Yeah,
Furtick back to the front.
I don't think Roth appreciated that very much. There was a hole there for Chapman to jump down in, and as soon as he did, he let off to let his teammate back in as well. And if I'm the 59, I'm saying, hey, I don't know about that.
At least he was on his toes enough to back off, see it coming at least, and backed off and didn't pile him up. But you're right, I wouldn't be very happy either if I'm sitting there and you see that guy kind of back off into your front bumper just to let somebody else down in front of you. But we're still early, so he at least played it smart there. Stayed off the back of Chapman, and we avoid another caution flag.
Single file all the way back to 14th.
That outside line just cannot get it going. You know, I did a Gen 4 race the other day, and wow, man, that was one crazy race. They were side by side, 3 wide all race long. It looks like these next gen cars are a little more difficult to get organized on the outside, as that bottom row has just been dominant this whole night. I always say night. I know the sun shines out, but
And those Revolution teammates, they have dropped all the way to the back of this first front pack. Bott and Spear and Ludi. And like I said, I think the 94 is going to need to hit pit road probably in the next 3 or 4 laps. Be curious to see if his teammates decide to come with him so he isn't out there by himself. That's a big gamble to give up the front pack.
yeah, hopefully we have some good communication here when these green flags stops begin. We've seen them many times when they start coming down off the banking down onto the flat into the pit area. If you're not anticipating, you don't know the guy's going to back off that fast. We've seen them pile up, so hopefully we can avoid that here on these first green flag stops that are coming up.
Dwayne Furtick still out there leading. He's led 6 laps so far tonight. Tristan Bailey has led the most with 11. Andrew Chapman has led 4. Michael York has led 4. And Boughton has led 2.
That Furtick comes into this race second in points. He was only 13 points behind Bailey. And right now they run first and third, so I think we'd probably see the points tighten up just a little bit, but Bailey would probably still come out with a point lead right here.
We want to thank all of our viewers out there in YouTube land. Let us know who you're pulling for in the live chat. Got any questions for us? Hit us up.
We have viewers?
Oh, of course.
I love viewers.
All right, here comes that outside lane, finally getting where they need to go. Michael York jumping back and forth.
Oh, little wiggle there. That was a nice save. He aggressively jumped out to that outside line there and just about lost it.
Here they come. The 06 and the 24, they were riding in the back for a long time, and I think they got sick of looking at all those rear bumpers. To the front goes York.
Carnathan at 24, Burden in that 06. You're right. They made a great run to the front. York saw him coming, just jumped up and said, all right, you guys, you're going to go to the front. I'm going with you. And York says, thank you very much. I'll just leave you out there now. So he gets to the point, jumps right down in front of Furtick. And you can see that outside line lost a little bit of momentum. They're falling back now.
Yeah, York's teammate McCall there on the inside lane in P3. Wondering if those two are trying to get connected.
Big push there from Furtick down the back straightaway on York. They get a little bit of separation back to that 90 car. The 90 car kind of sitting there by himself right now, but he's still close enough to get some draft there from that 51. You can see him pulling back up on the back bumper. Well, Bailey and Chapman back there kind of losing a little bit of momentum on that bottom. I'm not sure what caused that, but the outside line is starting to come back just a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised to see that 24 Carnathan dive down in front of the 9.
And as I pit road, Hendry is in.
Hendry, and once again, I'm not sure that's for. Yeah, maybe it's for fuel at this point.
Yeah, I'm not sure. He'd been out there 25 laps since his last pit stop. Maybe he forgot to put fuel in it as he was doing that fast repair from the blown motor.
Well, big credit for the pit crew changing a motor on pit lane there earlier, getting back out at all. You know, back in my day, they actually used to let them change. I used to see cars at these big races. Oh, I'm not going to say how long ago it was, but I remember they'd actually go in the garage, change their motor, and come back out and finish the race.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. No damaged vehicle clock when we grew up.
No. So York now out in front. Here comes Hendry out of the pits. They're just going to. There's a great video up on YouTube of Dale Jarrett driving around a little convertible, or excuse me, Ned Jarrett, Dale Jarrett's dad, and Terry Labonte going by him in a car at about 200 miles an hour. And that just reminded me right there with Hendry coming out of the pits and these 20 cars on the outside of him just going by of the full head of steam.
You know, we've had a handful of cars hit pit road. Those Revolution Motorsports drivers, they're going to come back out. I think the best case is you get in and out of the pits and you're able to rejoin. So we've got Mueller and Denise now hitting pit road. But if you time it just right, you should be able to catch the pack and get back in the draft one lap down.
Green flag stops are beginning here, so I think we're going to see the leaders dip down in here pretty soon as they pitted back on lap number 5.
It does look
York,
like
Furtick, McCollum.
Oh, we've got a car around. Aaron Miller. See what happened there.
Number 10 Home Depot car, but we're staying clean and green at the moment.
Already in the grass by then. Let's back that up. I think he just got loose coming out of the pits.
That's exactly what happened. He comes up out of the pits, looks like when he tried to make the transition here, gonna get up on the banking, he's gonna lose it, or maybe even before that.
Oh no, it's just like you said, he got a wheel up on the banking and that just turned the car down into the grass. As our leaders getting ready to hit pit road. There they are. Chapman in, Furtick in, York, McCall, Burden, Bollinger, Tristan Bailey, John Osborne, and Stan Carnathan all hitting pit road. That's going to leave Robert Roth out as the leader, but here he comes.
Just a herd of cars.
Out.
Oh, that's the 74 car with a head of steam coming in.
Woo, boy.
I thought he was going to take out the field, so Pete Walsh comes in. I think we may see him with a a speeding penalty.
And we got down in the grass, Michael York. Oh, and he goes around again. All alone.
Still no caution.
I don't think that's going to be enough for a caution. His day just went from really great to not so great.
Yeah, he's hoping for a caution here so he can catch back up to the field. He come into the green flag stop and looked like he just made a mistake trying to get back up on the track and then compounded it with another one.
And there are two drivers who still have not pitted. That's the 88 of Nash and the 38 of Kane Lee, but he's coming this time.
So Nash there with the lead. Nash started back in 6th. Going to be out in front right now. He pitted back to back same time these guys did. He's got some help here from the, is that the 85 right there behind him? I'm having a hard time reading the number on the car since we got all shaken up. So the 85 of Hendry. Hendry a few laps down now at this point, but he is helping Nash out.
I mean, I think you work with whoever's in front of you. As soon as the 88 hits pit road, Hendry's going to lose a draft again and be at risk of going another lap down.
And here he comes now, Nash diving down into the pit. So we're seeing all these cars that pitted back about lap number 5 on their first stops are now coming in here around lap. So it looks like we've got about 30 lap green flag runs. What we're going to look at for the rest of the night. So we're looking probably at least 2 more stops at this point.
Yeah, let's see what happens here. Kane Lee coming out of the pits. He's got the leaders. He is in the lead currently, but as they cycle around past Nash, wondering if the pack was going to pick him up. They said no.
Here they come. Here comes Furtick, Chapman, Burden, Bollinger, and Diaz. That 06, that's a really sharp-looking car. I like that Tyler Burden car in the 06 sitting there in 4th right now. Actually in 3rd at this point as Nash is down in the pit area.
Looks like all the drivers who pitted opted for 4 tires, or at least the time it takes to get 4 tires, getting the full tank of fuel filled up. And there goes Nash.
So that 5-car Michael York, who was running up here in front when the green flag stops began, all the way back there in 23rd now. He's lost 30 seconds back to the lead. And he's all by himself.
Aaron Miller, the other car that went through the grass after getting loose, he is another 12 seconds behind York. So these two can't even draft together. And the leaders are going to be catching that 10 car pretty quickly here to put him a lap down.
Trying to see where our points. Tristan Bailey also is falling. He was up there in the top 4 or 5 there when his pit stop started. He's actually back in 18th now. So our points leader kind of struggling there. I'm not sure what happened to him, but he lost a lot of ground there on those pit stops as well.
Yeah, these green flag stops really spreading the field out. Let's take a look at our track map. We've got cars kind of all the way around in multiple packs here as Dwayne Furtick leads the race. And this pack is about to catch the 10 car.
Yeah, we got 7 cars up here in this lead pack. Kane Lee was able to tag along to the back of this 6-car run when they went by him. So he's going to get up there in 7th. He's moved up from the 26 starting position all the way up to 7th right now. So we got 7 cars right now here in this lead draft, and it's about 5 seconds back to 8th, 9th for the rest of the pack with Osborne, McCall, Roth, and Walsh back there in 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. Furtick and Chapman have been the 2 most consistent cars here in this race, as we are 40 laps into 100, 60 more laps left to go. And let's see if we're going to stay clean and green for much longer. We're going to see him coming in for another green flag stop. We'll see what shakes up then in about another 20 or 25 laps.
Yeah, it seems like the fuel window was kind of right there at 28 to 30 laps, depending on how hard you wanted to push it. Which means I don't think anybody can make it here on just one more stop.
And it looks like Miller was able to tag along with these top 7 cars. So thank you very much. Maybe you can help me gain some positions back here as he's a lap down. But I'm actually real surprised how easy it is when you're out there by yourself and you get a pack of cars come by drafting that you're able to tag along to the back of them. You know, back in years ago, you would see that pack go by you, and they'd go by you so fast you couldn't even. There was no way you were going to be able to throw a chain out and hook onto them. But you can see Miller, even though he's a lap down, is able to run with these guys.
Yeah, he's sitting in that lucky dog position, so if anything happens here, he will get back on the lead lap. We've got 7 cars here in this lead pack plus Miller. Then 8th place is John Osborne. He's leading this 2nd pack.
They've got 9 cars, and it looks like they're pretty well organized. They know what they need to do to catch that lead pack, stay single file. They're about a little over 5 seconds back right now. They lost a little bit of ground there in the last half a lap or so, but they're 5.3 seconds back now. Let's see if they can, as long as they don't fight amongst each other, they might be able to run down that top 7.
Yeah, and then
I'll have to keep an eye on that.
Half straightaway behind them is a 3rd pack led by Tristan Bailey. You mentioned Bailey was up front when this pit cycle started and fading back a little bit here to 17th. But he's not alone. These guys can get organized and get a good push going. We might be able to catch that 2nd pack, and then together they can catch the leaders, hopefully.
Yeah, in this pack we see the 8-car Kent Mueller, Doug Denice, one or the other, and our friend Justin Hendry, who blew up earlier, actually found some friends here. He's able to work his way in the middle of this pack here.
Yeah, Michael York now getting overtaken by the leaders. Let's take a watch and see if he's able to grab onto this draft.
Yeah, York lost a lap on that mistake coming out of the pits. That was a shame. He was running good up front.
Also falling back. Or sorry, Michael Carter in the 18.
It's easy to confuse the Michaels.
Those 2 Michaels are going to be battling with Aaron Miller for that lucky dog position.
I've been watching that gap between that 7th and 8th place. It's down to about 4.6, so they've gained about a half a second here in the last couple of laps. So that 2nd pack of cars looking to make up some ground, get back up to catch these leaders.
Yeah, you know, it seems like the technique to grab onto that draft was actually side drafting. York really leaning on that lead pack as he drifted back, and by the time he got to about 5th or 6th, it looked like he had slowed them down just enough to be able to snag onto the back of that draft.
Really good observation there. I didn't see that, but that does make a lot of sense. Get down, pull that side draft in, and get, you know, kind of get into that air bubble. It's about the only way you're going to hang on to when they're going past you like that. York's going to be impatient, though. He's going to jump up to the outside. Oh, we got
big
that,
checkup. Chapman going around.
Sideways. Chapman got a little sideways there. I didn't see what started that, but he is going to collect the outside wall, spin down into the grass. And we are still green for some reason.
Yeah, let's go back and see what happens here. Chapman pushing Furtick.
He's tucked up right underneath the back of Furtick here in the 51.
Oh, he blew his motor. That's the second time.
Yeah, it blew up again. You can see the puff of smoke. And he's doing everything he can to keep the car off the racetrack. You know, that's the biggest thing when you start to, I mean, the car's blown up. You know you're not going to go anywhere. You definitely don't want to drift up in front of the rest of the traffic and collect anybody else. And you see him down there heading into the corner. You just watch it. Yep, there it goes right there. I mean, he tries to get it down on the apron. Yeah,
it's a pretty great job. He's able to stay low under the first pack and then just happens to drift back down onto the apron right as that second pack gets there. Great job by him and everybody involved just to keep that from being a bigger accident.
I'm just surprised. I don't know why that's such a hard word to say, but I'm surprised that we stayed green.
That leaves Tyler Burden, our new leader.
I Furtick back there in second. Is that the 26 of Diaz on the outside? And look at York. York's made his way up to the front. He's actually going to try to unlap himself.
Yeah, I think
he made his way up to the front of this pack.
He took advantage of the big checkup of Chapman, blowing that motor. Got down. Got just stayed in it and got around those other guys he was battling for the lucky dog.
So Burden out in front. Furtick now in second. The 26th of Kyle Diaz. Sitting there in third. We haven't said his name very much today. But Kane Lee also had some good strategy on the pit stops because he was not up in front earlier before those green flag stops began. But he is now up in the top 4. And let's see. With that little bit of shakeup too, I'm looking back to that gap between 6th and 7th again, and it's shrunk down another second. So it's down to just a little over 3 seconds, 3¼ seconds now. And Osborne is doing everything he can to pull this pack up to the front. I think they're going to get there before it's over. They're making up some ground every lap right now. Now under 3 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, I'm checking the lap times. The front pack running mid 47s, and that second pack running 46.8s. The third pack is as well, but they're just so much further behind. I'm not sure what they can do about it, as looks like Chapman has gotten that repair back out on track. He's now 2 laps down.
That has got to be the world record for engine changes right there. That's a shame too, because Chapman was running really well. He was doing a good job of pushing Furtick right there, just being patient. York's not very patient here. He says, I'm going to get my lap back, boys. I don't want a lucky dog. I'm going to go to the front here.
Yeah, I think that's smart. He's got kind of more at stake here than anyone else. I doubt they're going to fight him that hard of it as Burden.
06. Wow, yeah. With a big wiggle right there in the 06. But that was a really strong move by 5 in the York car. Excuse me, York in the 5 car. Lap down. He just kind of pulled out there and did that all by himself and just drove past that 06 car to get himself back on the lead lap. We are halfway through 50 laps, and it's Burden, Furtick, Diaz, Lee, Cogswell, our top 5 right now.
And as we have hit halfway, we're going to step away for a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back. We will stay with you in side by side so you don't miss any of the action here at the ECR Next Gen Cup Series on SRM. The action ramping up here on lap 56 as the battle for the lucky dog position between Michael York and Aaron Miller really heated up. York had unlapped himself, leading the field in front of Tyler Burden, but as that second pack led by John Osborne caught the front runners, we were 3 wide there as I believe Miller got a little loose, able to save it, but lost a couple of positions. He's now at the back of this now front pack that has merged between the first and the second. Shane Cochran and Chris Murphy here with you on SRM, here with the ECR NextGen Cup Series, racing at Daytona in the Stars and Stripes 250. We've seen a little bit of everything so far tonight. We have multiple drivers blowing motors as they try to push their friends around Daytona here. We've had multiple drivers spinning on the apron as they leave the pits. And then we've only really had one rapid fire pizza yellow flag all night long. That was on lap 4 when Justin Henry blew his motor and stacked up a handful of drivers as they tried to avoid him. I mean, what do you think so far, Chris?
Yeah, it's been an exciting race so far. We've seen a lot of shakeup. I don't know how many different leaders we've had in this event. Probably 7 or 8 now at this point. Furtick's been up there all night long, all day long. And like you said, that middle pack, just as we were gone on commercial there, has caught this front pack. We now got 13 cars all within about a second and a half. So I think we're going to see some more exciting races. There were 57 laps, 58 laps into this race, starting the 58th lap anyway. So I think we're going to be starting some green flag pit stops again, probably about 7 or 8 laps. But so far, this is cooking up to be a really good one right now with Burden out in front. Burdick, Furtick, Diaz, Lee, and Cogswell are top 5. And Osborne, who brought that pack all the way up from the, I don't know, felt like probably from somewhere in Georgia all the way to make it to Daytona, is John Osborne, but he's falling back to 13th right now. So let's see if he can. He's probably back there trying to save some fuel after pulling that train of 9 cars up to the front.
Yeah, as we hit 23 laps into this fuel run, we're expecting to see some drivers hit pit road about 5 laps from now. Based on the last pit cycle, that second pack still being led by Tristan Bailey. They are 5 seconds back from John Osborne in that front pack. When those 2 packs merged, they kind of picked up some speed, but here this last lap, it looks like about a half a second faster is the second pack. They seem to be working really well together now.
And we're actually getting a little bit of separation up in the front again. Our top 10 all nose to tail, but you look back about 11th, 12th, and they're back just a little bit now, starting to get a little bit more of a distance. Let's see if our point.
Oh, go ahead, Chris.
Oh, you go right ahead, sir.
I was just going to say up front, Tyler Burden has just led his 15th lap. That's going to tie him with Dwayne Furtick, who's right behind him for most laps led so far tonight. And Kyle Diaz has just been quietly making his way right up to the front. He's now 3rd.
Yeah, Diaz has been doing a good job here lately, just staying up in the top 5, top 6, not just being patient again. We see a lot of patience here tonight, which is really surprising. Most of these plate races we've seen, you see guys just getting impatient, jumping out there, making mistakes. But, you know, these guys here tonight have been doing a really good job staying in line, not doing anything too crazy anyway, as we're single filed out from about 1st all the way back to about 13th right now, with a couple of lap cars in the mix here with York and Miller. And it looks like York's still winning that that battle for the lucky dog if we do get a caution.
Yeah, Ludi and
we got pit stops beginning.
Also the 9, yeah, they're both hitting pit road along with Michael Carter, Aaron Miller.
And earlier on, we saw everybody going for fuel only, but it looks like we're going for a 4-tire stop now. Like you said, Bott and Ludi, Miller and Carter now down in the pits. So I think, you know, we've only been seeing about 30 lap runs. These guys are pitting this early. They're going to have to stop one more time here, I think. I don't think they're going to be able to go all the way to the end here. 39 laps from the finish.
Yeah, I think just not going to be able to stretch it that far.
That was a good move right there from Burton right there. It looked like he started to get a little separation on Furtick and kind of backed up to him there. let him give him a good little push so they could stay out in front, because Diaz and Lee back there lurking third and fourth, just looking for their opportunity to get to the front. And the leaders are coming up on that 85 of Justin Hendry.
And there he goes. We'll see if he's able to latch on like everyone's been able to do.
He's a couple laps down at this point.
Right now, Michael York is still in that lucky dog. We got everybody coming to pit road out of that lead
everybody but Diaz and Botwell.
Look out. Oh, the 90 almost makes contact, spins himself around. That's Ryan McCall.
Did he back off and get to a little bump from the 59 there as they came down pit road there?
I think he locked him up. Well, let's go back and take a quick look at it.
Yeah, it looks like he might have backed off and then backed into the 59 car.
You can see him coming in a much lower aggressive line. Tries to get past a couple drivers, and then right here, just not enough room. Locks him up. Trying to stay off of
exactly,
59.
Yeah, he was, yep.
And then, almost causes another collision. Luckily for everybody.
So if you ever wanted to be a spotter in a cup race at Daytona, call the driver of the 90, Ryan McCall. I think he might need a new spotter after he just almost backed up in front of the 3 or 4 cars around pit road.
That's going to leave the 62 of Christopher Roth out front. Gary Nash in second. The 25 of Chapman is a lap down.
I think this is the second time when we started the green flag stops that Roth actually stayed up there, picked up the lead for a couple of laps. And it looks, Chapman kind of abandoned the 62 of Roth and stayed right behind that 90 of McCall. I'm guessing they're teammates, because he didn't want to abandon that 90 car. He tucked right up underneath him to help him stay up towards the front.
Yeah, both of these guys rocking those rapid fire pizza paint schemes, working together, going to go right around Roth. They are both a lap down, I believe, and so both of them benefiting from getting around the leader sooner rather than later. It's no difference to you, Christopher.
Yeah, the 90 McCall just came into the pit, so he came out a lap down, but unlaps himself right there. Chapman trying to help him out, see if they can get back up to catch the other cars that he pitted with after spinning on pit road there. And here comes Roth down into the pits now, and that is going to hand the lead over to the 88 of Gary Nash. But once Gary comes in, it's going to leave Furtick and Burden now fighting back there in third and fourth. So they will inherit the lead once these pit stops are finished.
And they are not alone. We did not get spaced out the same way the first green flag cycle did.
Oh, we sure did. And then Burden fighting his way back down there on the bottom. So our leader here is the 88 of the Nash. Nash is going to have to pit. This is the race for the lead right here with Furtick and Burden. Unless some crazy caution comes out about here in the next lap or so. You can see Roth coming out of the pits down there after leading just a few minutes ago.
Nash stays out another lap. That's going to be 30 laps on this tank of fuel for him. If
he's found some drafting buddies here. So if he can make it a couple more laps, you know, maybe he's thinking he can make it to the end if he can just stay out there for 2 or 3 more laps at this point. Nice, we can see his fuel gauge.
Yeah, he's got to be getting close. Not really gaining or losing anything here. I think that pack he's with maybe about a half second slower per lap than the leader, so he is going to come down this time.
Here he comes. Nash going to come in and pit. That's going to hand the lead over to that battle with Burden and Bollinger, Cogswell, and Furtick. The 06, the 53, and the 84, your top 3 right now. Burden out in front. Furtick kind of falling back on that outside. He's trying to help that outside line. He was up here when we came back from the green flag stops, but he's now falling back to about 7th. And look who's up to 8th spot now. I'm looking at pit times. He had a third. I'm looking at Bailey right now. Bailey's made his way back up to 7th. He was way back there in that third pack of cars, if you remember, before the pit stops began. And I'm looking at his pit times. He had a little bit short. Did he only take on 2 tires?
I think he did. I think he did 2 tires and a full load of fuel. Colin Bollinger in 2nd also did the same. As did, again, we're kind of piecing this together by pit times. Looks like Boutwell, Furtick, Bailey, and Lee all did that same trick. Everybody else doing the full 15-second stop. That's what helped
Bailey was
bring this pack back together.
Yeah, Bailey was about 7 or 8 seconds back of the battle early on before we started the pit stop run. So good decision there by him to get back in this fight, because he was out of it before that. But he is now up here in this lead pack, your point leader here. And he's fighting it. He's actually right there behind us, his main competitor in the point standings with Dwayne Furtick. So Furtick and Bailey, or excuse me, Bailey right there together.
A little bit of an awkward bump between York and Lee. That's going to break up the outside lane.
Yeah, York's still hoping for a caution. He's got a good car. He's been up in his lead pack all night long, but made that mistake coming out of that pits a couple pit stops ago. Spun the car around not once but twice. Found himself a lap down here to the field, but his car is still strong. So even if he can't get his lap back, maybe he can help one of his teammates push him into the front. .30 laps left to go.
Here comes a big
70
bumps.
laps down.
And Michael Carter in the 18, he is battling York for that lucky dog, so he does not want to push him, but he gets up into the wall trying to go 3 wide. Yeah, the 5, the 18, and the 10, those last 3 cars on the high line, they are all battling for the lucky dog, so a real mix of co-opetition. I think that's a Larry Mack phrase. As they try to work together, but also try to stay in front of each other.
That's the second night in a row I've heard that word. I don't know if I've ever heard it before. Co-opetition. So we got 51 of Furtick on the outside. And that's Kane Lee in the 38 there, giving him a good push, trying to get that outside line working. York back there helping him as well. So like you said, those 3 lap cars, the 5, the 18, and the 10, trying to help that outside. Oh, big wiggle there, 38, and he's going to get sideways, get down into the 47 car. And that is going to pile up this field. So here's that yellow, and I think it was actually York out in front for that lucky dog. So the 95, the 10, all involved in this.
Yeah, let's go back and watch this one again. The 8, oh, Lee goes off of the nose of the 5.
Yeah, it looks like he got a little bit up on the outside. York thought he was going to stay out there, went to go underneath him, just caught that left rear quarter when he came back down the racetrack and just turned him around the rest of the field. We've got the 47 of Boutwell involved in this one as well. And that is going to, let's see, where are we at? What lap are we on right now? We're on lap 71. So I think we're going to get some yellow flag stops right here. And that is going to allow them to go to the end. Yeah, the 18, the 95, all involved in this one as well. Anthony Ludi. That 10 car of Aaron Miller was doing a good job to trying to get his lap back, and he just gets caught up in somebody else's mess here. So I would expect all the leaders to dip down into the pits here. Yeah, so he sees him crashing in front of him. He tries to go to the outside. He thinks he's going to be clear, but You know, the goal is to kind of go where they are. You think they're going to be out of the way by the time you get there, but that 47 car just kind of hung onto the wall long enough, and Miller just got collected in that one. Everybody. Yeah, just as we expected, everybody coming down to pit road on the 72nd lap here. So we've seen about 30 lap green flag runs. So this is going to definitely allow everybody to make it to the end, and it's going to bunch this field up. As we have, what, about 18 cars on the lead, 18 cars on the lead lap right now. Eight second stop. Did he take any tires at all? Coming. Andrew Chapman as well. Is that going to put Hendry? That's not going to put Hendry. That's not going to put Hendry back on the lead lap, is it? Still 2 down. Well, I'd keep your eye on Michael York. If Michael York gets his lap back here, that 5 car has been strong the whole race long. The cars that are lapped down now, now making their way down into the pits. Is Burden coming in for a second time?
It probably isn't a terrible idea to top off here.
So Burden comes in at pits, goes back out, makes a lap, comes back in again. That's going to be Cogswell out in front with Furtick right there in second. And it looks like the light's already out on the pace car here. We're going to go green next time by.
That's correct. One more time around. Those
we got
cars are booking it.
Yeah, we got cars straggling all over the place right now. Look at the track map, and we are spread all over the racetrack.
Yeah, Chapman trying to get every chance he can to finish out some repairs, I'm assuming. He's been to pit road multiple times.
Head down this long back straight with the field all bunching back up. Man, like I said, I'm going to really keep my eye on that 5 car. I think we're going to see him charge back through this field now that he's back on the lead lap. He's going to come around starting about 19th.
He is, but he's 12 laps into his fuel tank. So he's going to need another caution to stay on the lead lap.
Hey, he doesn't quite have time to dive in right now as we're going green as they come off of turn 4 here. Or as we head into turn 3. So Cogswell, Furtick, Bollinger, Botten makes his way back up to the front after leading. After the first caution of the race? Botten was out in front, fell back into the pack, but he's made his way back up into the top 3 or 4 right now. And we are going green with Cogswell on the point. Let's see what kind of start he can get here. Cogswell, Bollinger, Furtick, Walsh. Cogswell brings him into the line. 75 laps into this race, 25 laps left to go, and it's going to be the 53 of Bollinger right there behind him. Cogswell, Bollinger, Walsh, your top 3. Furtick still fighting his way up on the outside now in 4th. With a 94 of Botten tucked in right behind him, and Furtick finds a hole, drops down to the bottom. Just hold on to that 4th position as Cogswell out in front. Let's see if that outside line can get formed up once again. But right now, everybody out in front, the top 5 cars all down on the bottom. Yeah, looks like Bollinger's kind of peeking it out there.
Yeah, 84, 53, and 74. They have not been up front most of the night. But here they are when it matters. 25 laps to go. They don't have to stop again as long as they save just a little bit. This is exactly where you want to be at the end of this race.
And we have seen cars just yo-yoing up and down this field. I'm looking back there in that ninth position right now, the 8 car of Kent Mueller. Mueller was way out in back of this field earlier, and he's now made his way into the top 10 right now after starting back in 23rd. Let's see. I think it's anybody's race here right now. We're what? We got about 21 cars all separated by about 1.2 seconds now at this point. This last 25 laps is going to get crazy, folks. Furtick jumps back up to the outside and jumps up in front of Tyler Bird in that 06 car. See if they can get organized. They're making a run up on that outside. They're now up along the 3rd place car of Pete Walsh. Cogwell, Bollinger, Walsh right now your top 3, but here comes Furtick on that outside line. Man, they're just dancing all over the place. And actually, Burton's going to jump to the outside. He's going to leave the 51 of Furtick in the middle there in the sucker hole, as they say, and he's going backwards right now. We got Burton up on the outside. Oh, we're 3 wide in the middle here. We're just looking for another caution. I think they're trying to wreck, and they don't know it here yet. Burton trying to come along. He's got that 94 car bought and tucked up back of him in there. Aaron Spear, or excuse me, the 26 there of Kyle Diaz, right there along with him. But we saw this earlier too. It took quite a while for that outside line to really make any momentum. When we came back from that last caution, and the 8 car, Mueller jumps up there as well. See if he can help his buddies.
They're doing their best. They're on the outside, trying to get connected.
Oh, I thought that 90 of McCall was going to jump up there with him. He took a look to the outside. He tucks back in behind Roth in that 62. And as I say that, he does it anyway. He jumps up there in front of the 8 of Mueller. So McCall now up on the leading that outside line. Didn't work for him right away as he's losing a spot to Furtick. We are 2 wide most of the way back through this pack right now with about the top 5 all single filed out down on the bottom.
Yeah, and if I'm one of these drivers up here in the front that hasn't been there most of the night, I'm going to be a little nervous about blowing that motor, as we've seen most of the motors blow in this lead top 5, top 10 group. So just having so much fun being out front, get a little carried away. We've seen that from the start of the race, you can blow a motor in just 3 laps. So I imagine the last 3 laps of this race are going to be twice as intense as we are right now, when everyone isn't worried about that engine anymore. Oh, we've got Burton in the wall. Drifting back now.
Looks like he got into the fence and around, but he's going to collect it.
Jump back.
Did not see what happened there.
Kind of mid
out there by himself.
Driving behind the 8 car.
Looks like the 8 car kind of backed up a little bit to him.
Ooh, might have been a little bit of net code off of Diaz.
That's what it looked like, yeah, because on my screen it looked like there was about a car width away. Yeah, it's definitely a net code.
Really unfortunate for the 06 car.
Yeah, Diaz was right down under the bottom, underneath him, but it didn't really look like any contact on my screen. Maybe just a tap.
Now the 53 of Bollinger on the outside, being pushed by Furtick and Aaron Spear. Now up to 5th place, 3rd car on that outside lane. And they're getting a big run. And Furtick is clear. He's going to jump down to the bottom, and Bollinger going to try to block him. Now Furtick goes high.
Yeah, Frederick's looks like the dominating car all night long. I was going to be really surprised if he's not out in front when this thing is over. But almost a big mistake right there as he tried to get down in front of that 84 car. Cogswell just about caught that the right front fender there.
Yeah, and that's going to leave the 53 out to dry on the high line. He is gone.
So Aaron Spear, I didn't even know if I even saw that name in the roster earlier. I don't think we even said his name all night long, but he is now up to third as he's given a push to that 51 of Furtick to the front. 19 laps left to go here.
Yeah, Spear, one of those teammates with Adam Boughton of Revolution Motorsports. They were kind of riding around in the back early on, but they are riding around the front now.
And you can see Furtick kind of moving up and down the racetrack, down in the bottom, up to the top to try to block. But he got stuck up there on the top as Cogswell was able to get up alongside of him there.
Oh,
and shuffling back to second. They're going to go 3 wide. Spear with a nice move to the inside of Furtick, and that's going to leave Furtick hanging on the outside of the racetrack.
Yeah, just kind of.
Cogswell to the point.
He just snuck it in there and then boxed him out.
Pete Walsh now making his way up to second. We've got bunch of these guys up in the front right now. Like you said, we're kind of hanging around the back, being patient. And they're now out in front with a chance to win this race. Cogswell, Walsh, Roth, and Spear, your top 4. And Christopher Roth now in 5th. At 96, a Spear getting a good head of steam up on the outside. He's up along the 74, Pete Walsh, and he's looking to make his way up to the point. Up around Cogswell. He's going to get a big push from Boughton here. And they're getting some help from that 85 car, Justin Hendry, the lap down. He's up here trying to help his friends get to the lead of this race.
And or unlap himself. Working hard to do it.
Now, Spear might have been the first one I've seen all night long that got to the lead on the outside and didn't just drop down to the bottom and leave his partner hanging as he stayed right there with Boughton. So we got Spear and Boughton now. And here comes Hendry looking to the inside, like you said, to get his lap back, unlap himself. And he is going to bring that 90 car, Ryan McCall, with him. As they're going to try to make their way around the leader, Aaron Spear, with 16 laps left to go in this race.
Nobody is lifting now. I'm a little nervous for the 94. He's been tucked under the rear bumper of that 96, giving him some great pushes. Got to keep that thing cool, though.
And that car out in front, that 85 car, is a lap car, Justin Hendry. But he is pulling along that 90 of Ryan McCall to the lead. Spear and Boughton fighting back up on the outside. Trying to look back to Furtick to see where he fell back to. He fell back to 8th. Oh! And we're going to have our crash here with 15 laps left to go as he's Spear into the wall. Cogswell into the wall. We are going to lose a lot of fast cars in that one. And Spear just keeps bouncing off everything. He hit the outside wall, hit a couple more cars.
Yeah, I think that started with Spear. Let's see what we can see back here in the pack. There it is. Spear,
yeah, it looks like it's...
McCall.
Yeah, looks like the 90 and the 96 get together. Can we see? I see that 90 car down on the bottom. Spear on the outside. They kind of just meet in the same place. I think the 90 drifted up a little bit. At the same time, the 96 came down.
Yeah. Yeah, both of them kind of going for like a lane and a half off the bottom.
Yeah, it looked like the 90 car was kind of chasing the car around a little bit, trying to chase it up the track. And just happened to catch that rear quarter of the 96. That's a shame for Spear. He was doing a good job running up there in front late in this race. And look who is going to leave out in front. That's going to leave the 94, Adam Boughton. So look back here one more time.
Yeah, so we're going to jump on board with Tristan Bailey. He got down on the apron to try and avoid this thing.
He is way down in the grass trying to avoid it, and does a good job of collecting the. Yeah, good job of missing everything there.
He's certainly doing.
Until right at the end. Until right at the end, and the 95 come down and catches him in the right door.
Wow. And that's going to leave
the
94 out front, but without his teammate Spear, who's now. Well, no, Spear's still there. He's just a couple spots back.
And look at that second place car, that number 8 of Kent Mueller, started back in 23rd, all the way up to second right now. And he's going to come down and take on some fuel. So we got cars diving in.
Yeah, a lot
I
of.
thought these guys would be able to make it on fuel. So
I think they were, but I'm not sure who made it through that wreck with no damage at all. Maybe just a handful of drivers, as we see McCall, Osborne, Tristan Bailey going to stay out, Chapman going to stay out.
and McCall involved in that accident. I'm surprised he doesn't have a little bit of damage to that right front.
And really, I would say the biggest winner on that caution is going to be Burden. He had gotten up into the wall and then picked up a heavy bit of damage, was all by himself, able to stay on the lead lap, get on the pit road to get some repairs done.
You know, as clean as this race was going, I really thought we were going to go green all the way to the end. So this late caution kind of surprised me. I mean, I thought if we were going to have one, it might be last 2 or 3 laps. But as you can see, how easy it is just to make a little mistake and pile up the whole field. So we're going to have McCall out in front, Boughton in second. Is that what I'm seeing? Yeah, McCall, Osborne, Bailey, Chapman, Mueller, the top 5. Brad Rivers now working his way up towards the front of the pack, up into 6th. He was up there front earlier on, fell back throughout the field. And I'm looking back, it looks like only the top 4 did not pit.
Yeah, so the 8 car of Kent Mueller, he's going to be the first car coming off of pit road with definitely a full tank of gas. You know, I think the thing maybe we forgot about is if this does end up with some green-white checker overtime situations, everybody who just pitted is going to be comfortable with that. But these drivers, those 4 that stayed out, they might get a little nervous.
Good point. Yeah, they pitted back on lap 73. And we saw everybody running about maybe 30 laps was the max, maybe 31 earlier under green flag. So yeah, so if we get in a situation here where we have a couple green white checkers, they might be in trouble. I'm looking back here, see Furtick back there in 13th, one of our early leaders. Michael York, I thought would make a charge through the field. He's back there in 17th, 18th now. All right, this is gonna be an exciting last 12 laps here. All right, who's your money on there, Shane?
Ooh, it's hard to argue. I think I'm gonna go by paint scheme here. I think I like Mueller. He's got just a really nice red, white, and blue. I mean, everybody's got red, white, and blue today, but yeah, American Legion, be the one. Number 8 gets my vote for best Stars and Stripes scheme tonight. But it's going to be hard to compete with a lot of these rapid-fired pizza drivers. Tristan Bailey, Andrew Chapman, they're up there. McCall and Osborne on the front row. McCall, another rapid-fire pizza scheme. I'm just not sure. We've seen, we saw Dwayne Furtick kind of be dominant most of the day. He led 16 laps. Tyler Burden led 22 laps. Both of those drivers got shuffled out either by contact or just by drivers kind of cutting to their inside. So it seems like nobody is immune to getting cut out and held out to dry.
I think we're gonna. We haven't seen I don't think we've seen our last caution here as they're coming off of turn number 4 right now. Pace car going to dive to the inside. McCall going to bring him to the stripe. And we're going to restart this race with about 11 laps left to go. McCall, Osborne, Bailey, Chapman, Mueller, the top 5 right now. And McCall with a good jump. We've seen that all night long. The leader's usually been able to get about a 2 or 3 car length distance on the cars behind him. And McCall's going to do that. So let's see if he backs off just a little bit. He does a little bit. Bailey, there's our point leader, Tristan Bailey, now up to 2nd. Mueller now up to 3rd with the 53 of Colin Bollinger right there behind him. Now we are 2 by 2 here for about 5th on back, as we have the whole field, all 23 cars that are still on the racetrack, all right here together. And here comes the 81 of John Osborne on the outside with Chapman. Chapman lost a lap earlier with a blown motor. He's making his way back up here to the front now in fourth, fighting for the lead.
Yeah, slow and steady. He was on pit road multiple times a couple cautions ago to get some repairs done as well. He's really put in the work today to rebound, and he's up there at the front. 10 laps to go, 9 to go at the line.
Osborne leading that pace, that pack on the outside with Chapman right there behind him and Brad Rivers in that number 15 car, but it's still Ryan McCall down on the inside in the 90. 10 laps left to go as they head down the back straightaway. We are side by side, 2 cars deep all the way through the pack now. It's still anybody's race. I'm thinking we're going to have a green-white checker before this is over with. It's getting a little hairy up here in the front.
Yeah, and again, we've seen multiple drivers blow motors, trying to give everyone really good pushes. Now's the time where you really got to find that thin line between pushing hard to put yourself in position for victory and using up a little more than your car has to offer.
20 cars in this lead
giving
pack.
A huge push to McCall. And now it's Spears. Looks like he's on the third lane going back.
And it looks like he's going backwards. He's all there all by himself. He was involved in that last caution. He's got somebody jumping up here again. It looks like York jumping to the outside. Gonna see if he can get up here and give Spears a little bit of help. We're 3 wide. 3 wide heading down through 3 and 4s. We're coming up on 8 laps left to go in this. Spears and York out there trying to find a new groove. And Osborne now making his way to the front with that big push from the 25 at Chapman.
Yeah, we have not seen that high line really work.
Look at that third line coming. Here comes Spear and York.
Now.
They are getting quite the run there on the outside. They're now on the outside of the 80 to Gary Nash. Furtick sees him coming. I think he wants to jump up there, but he thinks the better of it.
I mean, there's really just 2 of them doing that, too, because the closest car behind them, the 40, was pretty far back. But Kyle Diaz is going to join them, see what he can do.
Here comes that third lane. They have found some new real estate out there against the fence, and they are coming, the 96, the 5, and the 26. I think we're going to see Chapman or Rivers has got to jump up there in front of him when they see him coming. But they don't have time. They're coming in such a hurry.
Oh, Bollinger almost made a 1.5 lane and then jumped back down to the bottom before anybody made contact.
We have got a gaggle of cars. Is that what you call it? Is it a gaggle when there's a bunch of cars, or is it a herd? I'm not sure which.
I think it's certainly looking like a gaggle right now.
McCall out in front. Bailey now, our points leader, right there in second with Mueller in third, but we are 3 wide behind him. We are going to have ourselves a race here for this last 7 laps. Chapman, who was up there in second, now falling back to about 8th in the middle of this pack. He sees Spears and York up on the outside trying to make something happen. He's kind of trying to side draft off of him, it looks like, but he is stuck in the middle of that pack right now.
It seems like the outside lane kind of just stalled out.
Yeah, they've had a really good run going, but I think you're right. I think they did kind of hit a brick wall. McCall is still down there on the bottom, all by leading this race with Bailey tucked up underneath them. I think they really like to fight this out just amongst themselves, but I don't think that's going to happen. There's about 18 other guys that are hungry right there behind him. Here comes the 94 Botten with 81 Osborne right there behind him. Chapman now back up here towards the front. And that outside line fell way back to the back. We saw Spear and York trying to make a run. But Spear now all the way back to 15th. They made it exciting there for a little while, but it just didn't work out for them. 5 to go.
Yeah, I think that third lane will come back here in a couple of laps. You've got to push hard to make it work, and I think with 3 laps to go, that's the mark in my mind of when you can push without worrying about your motor blowing anymore. Osborne up to the third lane to get around Botten.
And he's going to leave Botten sitting there in the middle. Chapman right there behind him. We got 20 cars all within 0.8 of a second right now.
Ooh, and the 94 just forces his way down into the inside lane. Bollinger probably not too happy about that.
Yeah, Botten says, if there's not a hole, I'm going to make it. You know, I had an old sprint car buddy. He always told me if the left front will fit, the rest will go. And I think Botten just lived by that right there as he just finds that hole down on the bottom in front of
car hard
Bollinger.
in the wall. That's Chapman. Oh, and another couple drivers going around. Roth.
It looks like 59.
There's the caution.
59 to Roth. Oh, see Rivers up there hard into the fence as well. And is that the 06 down there going through the grass of Burden? One of our early leaders.
Yeah, it looks like this one might have started with Chapman's in the wall. Everybody's kind of checking up.
Did he blow up again?
Have to go back and look. And Roth comes down, collects, and then
Collects
in
York,
front of
York.
them, 47 and
York.
15 and 51, 85.
47 down there as well, like you said. 15, you're gonna take a hard ride up the banking into the outside fence here.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I hope he's not in a motion rig. That might have hurt.
Let's go back and ride along with Chapman just before he gets in the wall. See if he did blow it again. I think he just.
I think he did actually.
Push.
Nope. Was it? You think he got pushed by the 15 of Rivers into the fence there?
I don't know. I didn't really hear the motor blow like we did before. I mean, it's definitely not a push.
Let's see. So he's pushing on the 81 right there. No, he broke again. You can see he just started backing off. Rivers didn't even really make any contact with him. I think he just blew up his second motor right there, because you could see him lose distance to the back towards Rivers there and just hits the wall.
Let's see, which car is that almost makes it through and then absolutely doesn't? I think it's the 88. Is that Gary Nash? Let's ride along with him, because he almost makes it through and then absolutely T-bones somebody. He's trying to thread that needle, thinks, whoo, I made it. Oh, no.
And then they're crashing again up in front of him there, and watch him. He's going to hit Rivers.
Yeah,
oh,
Rivers.
He just killed Rivers.
Holy cow.
Who's that? That was Hendry, I think, flying up into the catch fence.
Yeah, we're going to have to check that one out as well.
So it looks like another crash up in front of this one. We got those guys crashing back there in the back, and then we see the 47 go up.
Oh, I see. He
Collect
went
the 15.
Oh!
Quite a ride from Hendry there.
That was some air. He hit a concrete barrier or a curb or something here right at the end.
He's like, look, Ma, I can fly.
Wow, I've never seen a jump like that in the grass at Daytona. As he comes flying back. Hendry really been through the ringer tonight.
He is way off.
Picks up
way off the ground there.
On the way. We saw him blow a motor early, catch the lucky dogs, take the wave arounds, unlap himself.
And he catches Furtick as he's going up the racetrack. Furtick with some damage there as well.
Yeah, that's going to really shake up the race big time now.
McCall, Bailey, Mueller, your top three after that's all over with. I don't think anybody's going to have any fuel problem. Well, you know, if we where we have 3 laps left to go, so I'm going to do our first green-white checkered here. And McCall and Bailey both pitted back on lap 73. They're gonna, if they can make it, they're going to be sniffing fumes, I think, here, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, I think as long as they've been saving under all these cautions, they should be okay. But it's really easy to forget to do that when you get excited and the adrenaline's pumping.
One more time. We have Boutwell, Hendry down in the pits. Chapman's still down in the. Looks like he's going to come out, but doesn't look like he's going to lose a lap at this point. Bailey, we got McCall, Bailey, Mueller, Botten, Osborne, Bollinger back there in 6th spot. Christopher Roth, Aaron Spear, Kyle Diaz, Gary Nash going to round out the top 10. Still on the racetrack, Aaron Miller, Pete Walsh, Doug Denise, Dwayne Furtick, who was leading earlier, but I think he took some damage there in that last incident. Burden also back there about 16th or 17th right now after leading a lot earlier. Robert Roth, Brad Rivers. The last car's on the track at the moment. We got a few cars down in the pits. Still trying to make some repairs. I think we got 20 cars on the lead. Was it 19 cars on the lead lap I'm seeing right now?
Yeah, Bradley Rivers, the last driver on the lead lap. Sam Boutwell in the lucky dog position, but he's 2 laps down. For the last time, we'll hopefully for the last time, get re-racked and restacked, ready for this green-white checker finish.
So once they take the green, all they did, they can just come around to the next flag, take the white flag anyway. Once they take the white, the next flag ends the race, whether it be a caution or the checkered. I'm going to take a little bit of a breath here before we start this. I think it's going to be an exciting couple laps.
Yeah, 4 cautions in, 99 laps down. Going to be 2 to go at the line as we are in overtime with the ECR NextGen Cup Series.
They're going to come off of turn number 4 here. McCall out in front. Let's see if McCall bring him to the line. Bailey second, Mueller, Boughton. Again, your top 4. The pace car is going to dive down into pit road. Make this really hard. They work on that animation for the pace car. It makes a really bizarre left turn there. But it's down into the pits. McCall's going to bring him to the stripe. And we got 2 laps left to go. Green, white, checkered. Here we go. And he gets a good jump. We've seen that all night long. The leader's been able to get a good jump, and McCall's going to stay out in the point. Mueller there in second. Bailey going to jump to the outside, see if he can get that outside going, see if he can make a run. And they're coming up along the outside of McCall here for the lead. He's got the 94 Boughton tucked up right behind him. And we're going to make our way off of turn number 2 down the back straightaway one more time here. See if we can make it around here to the white flag. We got about 15 cars here in this lead pack, and it's Bailey now to the point with Boughton right there. That 94 car pushing him to the lead. But here comes the inside. McCall back to the front with a big push from that 8 car of Kent Mueller as we head through 3 and 4 coming for the white flag.
Everybody's starting to get squirrely and push as hard as they can. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go at Daytona.
Next flag's going to end it, and it's Tristan Bailey out in front. Your points leader. And they're shaking it up right here down in the middle. We're now 3 wide as we hit through 1 and 2. And we're going to get cars bumping. It looks like we got 1 around there back towards the back, but we're going to stay green and clean, or clean and green, however you're going to say it. And it's now Ryan McCall to the point. Kent Mueller second. Bailey's going to stay back in third, but here he comes back up on the outside one more time. Down the back straight as they head into turn 3.
Oh, man. Bailey holding on to it.
It's going to be close here at the end. Bailey getting a big push there from Boughton on the outside. Boughton around. It's going to be, he collects the 90 car. That is going to leave Bailey out in front all by himself. And look at that 26 car down on the bottom of Kyle Diaz moving up into second.
Yeah. Bailey.
Boughton gets sideways right there at the end.
Your winner, able to avoid the last turn wreck across the finish line.
I'm not sure what happened to Boughton there, but he got her sideways right there before the line, turned down across the track and took out the 90 of Ryan McCall.
Watch that again. Yeah,
was that a push from Bollinger maybe?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you can't lift. They're right on top of each other. Bollinger dives maybe to a middle lane and then
just catches that left rear quarter, doesn't he? And turns him down to the inside, and it just takes that whole inside row out. And that is going to Tristan Bailey with the win. He was in a position to take the win. I think we would have been side by side right at the line here. He's going to celebrate here at the line. The 8 car Kent Mueller just left it sitting there after the checkered.
Yeah, Tristan Bailey, your winner here in the Stars and Stripes 250. Survived 4 rapid fire pizza caution flags tonight. And 1 big wreck coming to the finish on the white flag lap. He is burning it down.
He's going to leave a set of tires out there, probably a motor here before it's over with.
Yeah, that's going to be win number 5 on the season for Tristan Bailey.
Yeah, closest point rival there was Furtick. Furtick falling all the way back to 16th after being up front all night long. So that is going to spread the points gap here for Tristan Bailey. Like you said, his 5th win on the season.
He throws it into reverse to do a little victory lap.
It's going to do a few more burnouts for us here, it looks like.
Yeah, Bailey, Diaz, and Bollinger, your podium finishers here tonight.
Yeah, we knew it was going to get crazy there at the end, and it sure did as they came to the line on that green-white checkered. Tristan Bailey with the win. Kyle Diaz coming home in 2nd after starting back in 25th. Bollinger started back in 24th up to 3rd. Michael York, we talked about York making his way back up to the front. He took advantage of that last race, that last incident there at the line. Going to come home in 4th. Gary Nash 5th. Brad Rivers 6th. Aaron Miller, Ryan McCall, John Osborne, Kent Mueller going to round out the top 10. Well, that was a heck of a good race for our first race together, Shane.
Absolutely. It looks like we got Kyle Diaz sitting here in the waiting room. We'll let you chat with him, our 2nd place finisher. As you've got Kyle Diaz P2 here for you, Chris.
Kyle, Chris Murphy, welcome.
Hello, how are you guys doing tonight?
Really good, man. Hey, good run there at the end. We saw you. Nice move there at the finish. You started back there in about 25th on this race. Did you think you had any chance to get this far up to the front?
Oh, no. I'm just glad I was able to finish it out here in 2nd place tonight after not making it to qualifying, barely just making the race. So it's a good result, all things considered. But that move right there toward the end, I had to just bob and weave, make sure I didn't reach my incident limit, and just get through there at the finish. But I feel bad a little bit because earlier in the race I kind of got into Tyler Burton a little bit, and also Dwayne when he was losing it from the wreck that was happening. But my bad to them. I was just trying to get through right there. But overall, a good run tonight.
A couple big incidents to avoid. That move right there at the finish. You had about 5 cars all piling up in front of you. You looked to the inside, got yourself up to 2nd. Hey, before we let you go here tonight, you did a great job, but you got anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, I want to thank my parents, of course, and my team over at GWR, Robert Roth, Christopher Roth, and Jonathan Cogswell, of course. Shout out to those guys. They didn't get the finishes they want tonight, but we still ran pretty well. So all things considered, pretty good night.
Good
Considering
job,
it's
man.
Daytona.
Well, yeah, consider Daytona. Good job, man. We'll see you again next week.
Yeah, see you guys next week. Had a good one.
All right, I don't see Bollinger available yet, so let's go ahead and talk to our winner, Tristan Bailey. You got Shane and Chris in the booth. You got a copy.
What's up?
How about that, huh? Tell us about your night. We saw you kind of drift to the back there. At one point, there were 3 separate packs, and you were leading the 3rd one. How'd you make your way back to the front?
I guess I must have had a lucky horseshoe or something. Obviously, you see me spin it, getting on the pit road the first time, and I spun the car around, and the car kept going. It's like, screw it, I spin it around a 2nd time. I don't know. We were all debating on 4 tires on every pit stop because it seemed like all of a sudden now the car wears tires more, which is kind of odd for a super speedway. But I took a chance and took 2 that 2nd stop while everybody else in the front pack took 4, and I was able to get back with that front pack. And then I think a caution happened in between there. I don't know what it was for. I don't remember. But then I've avoided a couple wrecks tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a lot of drivers blowing motors trying to give friends a good push. How conscious were you of the temps as you were driving around tonight?
It was odd. I've never had the water temp get high as it did tonight in any other league event at Super Speedway, you actually had to watch the water. The water blew a lot earlier than the old temp did. The water was blowing at like 285, 280. Granted, that's when it's red, but usually you have some leanway in between there when it gets start getting red. But other than that, the oil is about the normal. It's so hard to cool these cars off. It's just like they don't take the cooling very well, and it's crazy because there's no tape on the car. You can never put tape on the car, so you'd think it would cool a lot easier, but I just guess it doesn't do that.
Yeah, well, I think we're everybody's learning from some of these latest iRacing updates, whether it's tires or temps. But a great run for you there, able to avoid the carnage there on the last lap, as well as through the whole race. So congratulations on the win, and you're 5th on the season. Who else you got to send some thanks and shout-outs to?
All of our team we got here in Eons Motorsports and Motor Club, we all helped each other there. We was hoping that Chapman's screen froze actually when we're all top 4, top 5 there. That's the reason why that caution came out, because I think they kind of got scared behind him, but his screen froze on him, so that's what happened there. And we was hoping the caution didn't come out. I think we were kind of set there coming to the end, because I was pushing Ryan to the win no matter what. I was going to try to help Ryan out, and I wasn't trying to pass him there coming to the checkered flag either. I was kind of lifting in the lead to let him get biked by, because I don't think he's got a win in iRacing yet in the league way yet. So I was trying to help him out there like I did Chapman at Talladega. But I mean, it's all a team effort. If they weren't here, then none of this would be possible.
Yeah, I think that answers one of our questions. We had jumped on board with Chapman to try and figure out what happened. Didn't hear the engine blow, but we saw him slow down. So sorry to hear about a frozen screen being the cause. But yeah, another great run for you guys. And that answers your question, Chris. Chris was wondering how to pronounce that team name, Eons. Anyway, congratulations again on the win. We'll see you after the break and the 4th of July holiday. Enjoy the time off.
Thank you, man. Y'all too.
Well, I don't think Bollinger is open to an interview here tonight. We'll have to catch him another time. That's going to wrap it up here for us in the ECR League as we take a final look at our results. It was Tristan Bailey coming home first. Kyle Diaz in second. Colin Bollinger rounding out the podium. Michael York did make a good charge there at the end. He finished 4th. Gary Nash in 5th. Bradley Rivers 6th. Aaron Miller 7th. Ryan McCall comes home 8th. John Osborne 9th. Christopher Roth in 10th. Kent Mueller 11th. Aaron Spear 12th. Adam Boughton 13th. Tyler Burden 14th. Doug Denise 14th. Dwayne Furtick coming home 16th. He was up front for a good portion of this race, caught up in one of those accidents, or multiples actually. Kane Lee, another driver that was up front, caught up in some of the wreckage. 17th, Robert Roth in 18th. Pete Walsh going to be 19th. Sam Boutwell in 20th. Andrew Chapman 21st. Justin Hendry 22nd. Anthony Ludi 23rd. Jonathan Cogswell 24th. Michael Carter 25th. And Stan Carnathan in 26th. And that's going to wrap up our race here tonight. What are your final thoughts there, Chris? We saw a little bit of everything here at Daytona.
Yeah, my final thoughts is I just glad I can stop and catch my breath here at the end of that. That was pretty exciting last restart. Even leading up to that, it's a shame Chapman lagged out there. He was looking really good all night long. Again with Dwayne Furtick, I thought he was going to be up at the front when it was over with, but just got wrapped up in a couple other people's mistakes. But good strategy from Tristan Bailey. Fell back to the back early. I don't think that was really planned. Like you said, he spun out on pit road a couple of times, but that pit stop there in the middle for taking 2 tires was just a game changer for him. Got him to the front. So congratulations to Tristan Bailey, Kyle Diaz, and Colin Bollinger coming home in the top 3. Just great working with you tonight, Shane. I'm really glad we got to do a show together. It's been a lot of fun. I know some of these leagues are going to take a couple of weeks off here for the 4th of July holidays, but hopefully we'll get a chance to be together once again.
Yeah, absolutely. Had a great time watching the action here with the ECR NextGen Cup Series. And as always, we are Sim Racing Media. We'll catch you again next time. As we mentioned, the ECR League going to be on summer break next week, and then also off the July 4th weekend. So we'll see you again on July 12th in the ECR Firecracker race at Atlanta Super Speedway. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday night and your weekend, and we'll catch you again next time on SRM.